the final season of this almost 10-year-long show is finally arrived, but only the final premiere before the show comes to an end later this year. And to be quite honest, this premiere is probably one of the most interesting premieres I've ever seen, but at the same time, a little more predictable, but I'll get to that later. Anyway, Princess Celestia completely tells 7 of the characters about an announcement that she and Princess Luna are retiring to becoming as rulers of Equestria. And the next princess in line who's going to be taking over Equestria is none other than Princess Twilight herself. As if it wasn't any obvious from the information that we got last month from the trailer. However, Princess Twilight isn't really prepared to be a ruler of all Equestria, but her friends got her back. But on the other hand, I'm on her side, but I'll get to that when I talk about my rant about this whole idea of Princess Twilight almost becoming the ruler of Equestria. Yeah, I completely spoiled it, but then again, I always do spoiler reviews, so don't expect me to do a spoiler-free review from anything else that involves in episodes like this. We see Charlock, Kazi Glow, Chrysalis, and King Sapa went into an underground place where they meet another final new villain of this entire show, and his name is Gorgar. Gorgar offers the 4 original villains from the show to team up in order to take down the heroes of the show, mainly because they completely took care of them by themselves and they won't be able to do them by themselves. So basically, it's basically a super evil alliance thing like you see in some other cartoons. So I've really seen this stuff before. However, King Samba with no pony in any alliance whatsoever. And true, by looking at this premiere, this is still obviously all about King Samba. Then again, we haven't seen him since 2012, which was a really long time, so it's really not much of a surprise that he's getting some kind of focus in this special. And I'm actually kind of happy, but at the same time, I'm mostly disappointed that we didn't get to see a character from the comics, but I'll get to that later. Princess Twilight is struggling to figure out the plans that she has to do in her kingdom, since she's gonna be the one gonna be taking over while Princess Celestia and Luna are retired. King Samba completely took over and taken over the Crystal Empire just like before, and this time he is completely in full control. However, Twilight and her friends are just in time to save the Crystal Empire, and they easily succeed. This is all part of King Samba's plan because, like Triple H has always said, there's always a plan B. And he completely destroyed the Tree of Harmony, which is one of the main reasons on how he got defeated in the Crystal Empire in this episode. And now, all hope is lost. All the ponies in Ponyville are completely mind controlled and under King Samba's magic. Dog magic, whatever you prefer. And things get really more complicated since Twilight and her friends aren't able to handle the situation since they don't have the Tree of Harmony around their powers, which means they can't be able to take down King Samba no matter what. By the way, if you heard that bump, my iPad fell. Well, not on the ground, but on the table. I don't have a good setup. But anyways, even with the littlest of abilities that the main 6 have, they still try their best to take down everything in their path. However, it's just way too powerful. Even John Cena says, you should never give up. At this point, they're just trying because what else other option do they have? But Princess Celestia, Princess Luna, and Starstorm return and try to take down the vines from making Ponyville a really dangerous place. And I really found that a really great way to see the returning characters. Because other than King Starstorm, I pretty much knew that Luna and Celestia are never going to be retired in these serious situations. They get into the princess's throne room where they see King Samba almost reaching his goal to take over Equestria. and he was about to attack Fluttershy by using his magic, but Discord sacrifices his body in order to protect Fluttershy from getting destroyed. And due to a very, very heartwarming moment between Fluttershy and Yellow characters with Discord completely showing off, expressing his opinions about the main six's abilities, the magic and friendship just keeps getting stronger and stronger no matter what, which causes King Stompon to disappear again. The ending shows that it really shows that Princess Twilight isn't really princess worthy in order to rule an entire kingdom, so Luna and Celestia decide to go out of retirement that quickly to become rulers of Equestria again in one entire day. That is just really impossible to think that all this is happening in one day, and then just when they think that Princess Twilight Princess Twilight can handle the situation by herself, this stuff happens automatically. I would call this hilarious, but at the same time, I've seen this happen so many times in the show, so it's really not much of a surprise anymore. Meanwhile, Gengar and the other three villains are going to form an alliance since King Samba is completely out of the picture. And the only option that they need to do is to make an alliance in order to take down everyone in Equestria so they can become the new rulers of Equestria. And that's the end of the 9th final premiere of the show. I say interesting about the 9th premiere of the show, it's mainly the villain's new disastrous plan when it comes to the real finale of this season. Since I know that not all the villains are completely gone, and there's only 4 more left, which includes the new one, I guarantee that the 9th finale will probably be an alliance in a huge battle between all the heroes of Equestria facing the forces of evil. But then again, we've seen that so many times, so I'll get to that later. But my point is that the main focus is Princess Twilight becoming the real ruler of Equestria. And to be quite honest, Princess Twilight was never having any thoughts of becoming a ruler of Equestria. This is basically the same plot while Starlight Glimmer was about to leave Twilight's castle in order to pursue it on her own, but then she decides to stay because she wasn't ready to leave. It's the same situation. I mean, when I first saw this, I thought this was like a late April Fool's joke, but after seeing the ending of this episode, I guess it wasn't. I know that Princess Celestia isn't that cruel enough to mess around with Twilight a lot, because believe me, I know that she's smart enough to know that Princess Twilight is, even though that she is paranoid, she is still smart enough to understand that this is way too early for her to completely to take over the land of Equestria. And another thing that I found it really irritating is that this episode starts with all 7 characters meeting Princess Celestia and Luna about the retirement. It just feels really rushed if you think about it. I understand this is the final premiere, but you don't have to throw that in. And the fact that Luna and Celestia are still going to be rulers for the season, I highly doubt that Princess Twilight will ever become a true ruler in the future of the show. Like, imagine the show getting renewed for 3 more seasons after season 9. And if you see the development that Twilight is going to get herself into, she's still young enough to become a princess of Equestria. I mean, she is a bit taller than the other characters, as we've seen in the 4th season, but at the same time, she isn't really prepared to become a ruler of Equestria. I mean, if you really look at the 4th season premiere, you can tell that she wasn't really prepared to handle big situations. Even though that she did later on, but not like ruling the entire land to stuff like that. This is why Princess Celestia and Luna was never retired in season 4 or onwards, because what Princess Twilight did was just trying to figure out a spell to get everyone else's cue marks back to the way they were in the 3rd season finale. So I really think that seeing her in a very big paranoid and stress situation, I highly doubt that she will ever become princess worthy. I mean, she is when she gets older, but at the same time, still too early. And if you really think about it, you can tell that she usually tries her best to do some kind of friendship lessons when it involves her school, because she completely opened the school of friendship in the last season. And considering the fact that she's still going to do the same thing as before, we're obviously going to see a lot of school episodes involving this situation. I mean, not a lot, but only a few episodes, and we've always seen screenshots of that in the trailers and promos of the promotion of Season 9. So I really doubt that she's still ever going to be a princess of the ruler of a land, even in the 9th season finale. I mean, sure, they can prove us wrong, but can you imagine if Starlight Glimmer actually went on her own in the 7th finale? Because that's the same season where she stayed with Twilight at the beginning of the episode. And I'm pretty sure that they're going to do the same thing with Twilight in this. Believe me, it's really difficult for me to actually see Twilight becoming a ruler of the entire land when Celestia and Yuna still have enough time to continue to rule the entire land. Especially the situation that they had to deal with. I mean, Equestria was like the same levels of the second season finale and the 4th season finale, when it's getting close that Equestria is being taken over by the villains. That just proves to me that Twilight isn't that strong enough or that powerful enough to handle a kingdom by herself. Sure, she did some amazing things in the MLP movie and the season 4 finale, but they were not involving in taking care of the kingdoms. She was just trying to take down the evil villain behind this whole disasters of crisis, if you know what I mean. This just proves to me that anything that Twilight does involving the kingdom is just out of the question in this situation. Because of what this episode shows me is that King Sampon always has a backup plan. There's always a plan B from quote by Triple H. And I really don't think that it will probably be a good way for Twilight to handle this, because Luna and Celestia went through so many situations in the past, and they did a lot of experiencing in order to take care of kingdoms, while Twilight just does some friendship lessons and she's running a school. In my opinion, I got a feeling that she's going to be running a school for the rest of her life. Well, not really for the rest of her life, but what I mean is that towards the season and towards the end, despite of what's going to happen in the 9th season finale from this show. But anyway, with that went out of the way, let me discuss about the villains of this finale. The only thing that I'm glad is that they didn't forget most of the major villains like King Chrysalis, because she only had 3 focuses. One for the 2nd season and 6th season finale, make that number 2. The 3rd was the Mean 6 episode, which was a really poorly episode that I also reviewed in MLP month last month. And now we get this. As far as I'm concerned, I really hope that her development of almost taking over Equestria will probably be something that she can contribute in the final finale of the show. As for Trick and Cloudy Crow, I honestly think that'll probably go just because we can have other villains in the finale. I mean, Trick I can understand, but Cozy Glow, she's still gonna be really psychotic no matter what. I mean, if you really think about it, I think they're just going to do like a new school army where she can try to face the school of friendship. It's kind of like she's just basically pulling the Starlight Glimmer from season 5 if you really think about it. But then again, that's all predictions. Let's get into the new villain, and that's Gleilgar. Interesting backstory, and I really think that his motives of trying to get the villains in order to work together is a really smart strategy, even though that it's way too cliche when it comes to multiple villains in the show and they decide to group up in order to make a huge comeback against the good guys. But at the same time, I can understand that he's doing everything he can in order to become the ruler of Equestria, just like before. Tell that even though that I think that he's probably one of the characters from the earlier generations, he has a really devastating plan that involves taking over the entire land of Equestria, especially when he has the motives and the ideas by having some other villains in order to team up, in order to figure out a disastrous plan so that neither one of the characters would be able to take them down. I think you can understand why this is called the beginning of the end, because this is just the first half of the plan, even though that it did involve the King Samba's ideal. But they're going to figure out a disastrous plan in order to team up together in order to take down everyone in Equestria. That's basically what I think about the beginning of the end. But on the other hand, I think that the reason why this is called the beginning of the end is King Samban almost succeeding his plan. I mean, the first plan was taking over the Crystal Empire, and then the second plan is, well, taking over Ponyville, and it was almost close to the end of him succeeding his goal. I guess I have other alternative ideas when it comes to this idea of his plan of taking over Equestria, but on the other hand, I really thought that the alliance was going to be the main focus of this premiere, but apparently they're saving that for the finale. But anyway, as for the return of the Crystal Empire, it was number 5 of one of the things I want to see in the 9th finale of the show, of the 9th season of the show. And I did, but at the same time, there's really nothing special. I guess it goes to show that there's really nothing new in the Crystal Empire, except doing the same thing in the 3rd season premiere did. But it is still kind of nice to see the Crystal Empire one more time before this show comes to an end. So I got one off of my list right, and I highly doubt that the other 4 will ever happen. I mean, the second one, which was about the Spike's family thing, it better be a thing. And I'll discuss about that at the end of this video. One of my favorite moments is Discord sacrificing herself in order to sacrificing himself in order to protect Fluttershy from getting destroyed. If you saw my review of Discord Harmony, which was the Season 7 episode I did in last year's MLP month, I really changed all my opinions about Discord. The thing is, I didn't know much about his character, but the way that he has a motive in order to act really different from other characters is really understandable of why he's been acting this way. And his bond between Fluttershy is probably a really great bond. And I got a feeling that there's probably going to be a fanfic where Fluttershy is going to give Discord something that he deserves after sacrificing his life from Fluttershy getting destroyed. I really think that shippings like these really work, considering the fact that you can see the situation and bond between the characters. And while I completely understand that people may have agreements about this whole situation, I'm still glad that it's a really good thing to see Discord respecting Fluttershy, just like other characters respect. Especially the Mullets that they're trying to protect everyone in the land. This is basically about friendship, family, home, and Equestria. Basically, their goal, the main 6 goal is to protect everything in Equestria because they live happy lives. And I really like that to see that, and I really found that a great moment to see from this episode. And since Princess Celestia and Princess Luna are back on the thrones of being the rulers of Equestria, even in the same day when they call retirement and decide to change their minds, I'm still glad that Princess Twilight isn't in this situation of becoming the ruler. Which leads to very good ideas of what could happen in future Equestria Girls seasons and specials, since Equestria Girls is obviously going to continue even after Season 9 is officially over. But then again, I'll discuss more on that when I talk about Spring Breakdown yet again of what it should have been later this month. Final premiere, I really enjoy it from beginning to end. Even though that there's some of the issues that I have, like Twilight's struggle becoming a ruler, and most of the ideas that they did, I really think that this special is I think that this premiere is a really good final premiere in order to wrap up the show. And since I pretty much know what the finale is going to be like, we can only hope that the 22 episodes from this show has to give something redeem, like Spike's real family. Seriously, I can't get over Father Knows Beast. There's a reason why I didn't review that episode in the last minute of my MLP month last month. And I really hope that we get to see some kind of returning characters in some way, even though it won't be a possibility. Since this isn't mainly focusing on the school friendship, even though there could be some episodes, I really hope that they probably at least try to do some kind of fan service for this final season, since we're not going to be seeing Generation 4 ever again after this year. Well, minus Equestria Girls, but that's a different story. With that being said, I give this special an 8.5 out of 10. I would easily watch the other specials, but I would say that this premiere is way better than the 8th season premiere by some other fans who just can't stand the School of Friendship ideal. Even if I like it, I can understand where the fans are coming from. Anyway, that's my review of the beginning of the end, and there's only 24 episodes left from the show. And even though I'm not going to be reviewing all of them, I will still review the finale. And then after that, maybe later this year, I'm going to do a gigantic marathon of reviewing the remaining episodes of Generation 4 so I can be done with reviewing all the episodes from Friendship is Magic. And now I can put my focus on Generation 5 material next year, if they do come next year. Anyway, I'm Lonely Fanboy Floyd here, and I'll see you tomorrow when I upload my first ever Q&A video. Yep, I completely answered all your questions, and they're all going to be answered, well, not really all of them, but they will be tomorrow morning.